All right, folks, how's it going? One of the greatest solos, one of the greatest, by one of the greatest rock bands, and personally, probably my top 15. Yes, I said top 15. I'd like to introduce you and welcome you to Van Effin Halen. All right. Folks, we are 5-6 miles into the great state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Michigan to be more exact. Just traveled through the entire great state of Wisconsin, coming from the fine state of Illinois. Downtown South Chicago. Stopping in to say hello. Hope everything's okay. It's a Wednesday. I don't even know what the heck the date is today. What is it, 22nd or 23rd? I don't even know anymore. And it's about, it's nearing 2:30. I'm on my way home. Going to be home shortly. Checking in to say hello and kind of give you an idea what's coming up this week. Kind of a slow, busy week. I don't know how to make that make sense. We've had some tricky weather at home. And we have some tricky weather Friday and Saturday this week, meaning some rain. Therefore, there is no hay down. There will be no hay videos whatsoever. Cutting, raking, or baling. Unless the weather magically changes tomorrow. Which it's not going to. Biggest thing on the radar, get ready. I'm going to attempt to make a fool out of myself and try and imitate Big Tractor Power and Mike Less, who those two gentlemen cannot be beat. If you don't know who I'm talking about, you've been living under a stump. I'm gonna try and put on some videos tomorrow, because here's the deal. We're pretty darn close to being positive, excuse my language here, my words, that we are harvesting all of our barley and all of our oats tomorrow, and we're talking about in the neighborhood of a little better than 50 acres. We have two oat fields and 2 barley fields. So I'm going to do everything that I can, which of course we have that custom done for us. I'm going to do everything that I can to take some good videos inside and out. You are going to have the pleasure of seeing 2 Lexion combines. Lexon, whatever you want to call it. I call them Lexion combines. One of them being a tracked combine. Pretty good stuff, folks. To include a trip to the feed mill, which of course is where our small grains go to be stored there to go into our grain rations. So I look very forward to combining this year. Which could very well take place tomorrow. It's not 100%. And if that's the case, I will be making darn sure that some nice videos are taken for your viewing pleasure, and it makes me happy. Other than that, I'm stopping at a little town at an auto value just before I get home to pick up some extra oil. Enough to do, if I need 5 gallons of 1540, I use Rotella to do an oil change in my 6420. It deserves it. It's earned it. Going to give it a new shot of fluids, which is oil. And I'm the kind of guy, I'm here to tell you, this is going to make a bunch of people frown and smirk. I don't know. I don't count the hours between oil changing intervals. The oil is changed on that tractor twice a year. If it's running harder than what it is right now, which I don't think I'll ever do to that tractor, it runs hard enough as it is, I'll change it 3 times. As far as I'm concerned, it's one of the cheapest forms of maintenance, preventive maintenance, to include greasing of equipment, is oil changes to tractors. Can oil changes get pricey? Yeah, if you're doing 10, 20, or 30 oil changes a year, which I'm sure there's a lot of yous out there that actually probably do. Wow. More power to you. They can get expensive, but as far as I'm concerned, my famous words, in the grand scheme of things, let's call it a $50 oil change. In the grand scheme of things, as far as I'm concerned, folks, that's pretty cheap. $50 is a lot of money, but not concerned in taking care of your equipment. So yeah, I'm going to do an oil change on the tractor. There's a little bit other maintenance to do. I'm going to start shifting cattle. I am very much hoping to get at it this week. Maybe not all of it, but some of it. What I'm doing is I'm wanting to take the 14 Holstein steers that are going to a feeder sale this fall. I'm wanting to get them out of the cow herd, the cow lot, with all the beef. It's time for them to get out of there. It's time to put them in what we're calling the steer lot, what you know is the steer lot, and start getting them on some grain. Along with those 14 Holstein feeder steers, I've got I've got 3 young heifers that I want to get out of the beef yard. Those are also going into the steer lot as well, in preparation for a October breeding. So yeah, there's going to be some moving of cattle. I've got a little bit of tagging to do, and of course vaccinations to follow. Might as well do them now, as long as they're going to be corralled and whatnot, which you know, if my hands are going to be full, but hopefully I can maybe take a video or two for you. Other than that, normal doings. Looking for a big combining day tomorrow. Now, a lot of you has probably heard me say we got rain coming Friday and Saturday. Well, why are you combining? Some of you would ask why you combining, because, you know, I've stated before that we're very dependent on the remnants of that small grain, which is straw, oat, and barley. Well, here's the deal. I and nobody else wishes for their straw to be rained on after harvest, before baling. Folks, we have our combining done custom. We have to try and work the best we can around their schedule, because they are busy as all you know what. And straw being rained on is not the end of the world. It's really not. To give you a small example, and you know, you don't wish this to happen. To give you a small example, we had barley straw last year that was rained on. You know, the rain never stopped last year. It was rained on 5 times at a minimum. And we fluffed it over with a rake when it was time. You know, we got some dry time and baled it up, and it was, I'd say, darn near perfect. So straw can get rained on. You don't prefer it, but it can be. Obviously, the big ticket item here is going after all of our oats and barley. That's what's most important. I think that about covers it. I know I'm forgetting something in there somewhere. Shout Out Friday. Shout Out Friday is coming, obviously, in a couple days here. I've got a great channel that is going to get a proper shout out. We are going to do a sorghum update. Depending on my little schedule while I'm home, I try to do those on Saturdays, try to make it a full week. So I'm gonna shoot for Saturday. If it ends up being Friday, well, whatever. I fully expect to see that in great shape, and I'm very excited to see the regrowth of alfalfa again here when I get home. And who knows, if there's some time in there, we might throw in a corn update. Right now, putting all the brakes on hay, so which isn't a bad problem. Folks, that's about all I have. Just tuning in, saying hello, giving you a heads up what to look for here this week. Hopefully we're all lucky and some of those videos can come true, especially, you know, like I said, the combining and a trip to the feed mill and dumping one of the gravity bends into the hoppers. And yeah, good stuff. Hope everybody's doing okay, and I will talk to you sooner than later.